When I used to be tossed around by the waves, I'm living on the surface. This is coming, that's coming. My emotions were polar, you know? My emotions were negative, then they're positive, then they're negative, then they're positive. And the positive I want to hold on to, and the negative I want to push away. Instead, if I step back and I just let life happen and I let my emotions run through me, I'm just a conduit for this world to be happening, right? All right, welcome to Conscious Casey. Trying some new things because I can do whatever I want on my channel. You know, building up to filming a video, there's a lot I have to work through in my own life because I was not always like this. Okay, my life has been completely different, completely opposite. This is all a journey of me finding a way to express myself, finding the true me, letting go of limitation, letting go of conscious and subconscious blocks, healing my wounds and things that hold me back in this life. So this journey on YouTube and helping people live great lives and giving out information and teachings about the laws of the universe, about how to live a good life, about how to find deep peace in your life, how to still the waters of life instead of living in chaos on a daily basis, how to wake up and find out that you are living in chaos and that you might be addicted to the chaos, you might be addicted to suffering. And we don't really know that until we can find a way to break out of it, you know, and then we can look back and we can come from a place that is whole and is still. And sometimes when you find that, the mind wants to go back to the chaos because it doesn't know what to do with the stillness. It doesn't know what to do with peace. It doesn't know what to do with equilibrium, having an equal mind, having balance in life. But deep down, our soul, that's what we really want. Because in that stillness, there's wholeness, there's satisfaction. And we get there through knowledge of ourself and knowledge about how this universe, this experience of life, how this matrix, if you will, works. And once we have that knowledge, then we apply it and we develop wisdom. So I've been going through uh, the Hermetic principles, these ancient principles on how the world works, on how the universe works, and I'm on the principle of rhythm. And this is the Kybalion. I'm just going to read it out of the text because it explains it very well, and then I'll talk about it. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. This principle embodies the truth that in everything there is manifested a measured motion to and fro, a flow and inflow, a swing backward and forward, a pendulum-like movement, a tide-like ebb and flow, a high tide, a low tide. Between the two poles, which exist in accordance with the principle of polarity described a moment ago in my other video, there is always an action and a reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a sinking. This is the affairs of the universe, suns, worlds, men, animals, mind, energy, and matter. The law is manifest in the creation and destruction of worlds, in the rise and fall of nations, in the life of all things, and finally in the mental states of man. And it is with this latter that the Hermeticists find understanding of the principle most important. The Hermetists have grasped this principle, finding its universal application, and have also discovered certain means to overcome its effects in themselves by the use of appropriate formulas and methods. They apply the mental law of neutralization. They cannot annul the principle or cause it to cease its operation, but they have learned how to escape its effect upon themselves to a certain degree depending upon the mastery of the principle. So that means that they understand deeply how the principle of rhythm affects life. Okay? So it talks about pendulums and about the swing of pendulums. So just think about pendulums as a concentration of energy in this world. For instance, the elections that just happened. Just think about the energy that built up to that, and then once the election happened, the flow of energy away from that, right? That's like one example of it. Now, when the election was coming, this pendulum was coming, it brought a lot of consciousness and attention with it, didn't it? A lot of people were swayed. A lot of people were involved in taking action and commenting and spending time and attention and energy focused on those things, right? And you can be swept up in that energy. And then it happened and then it dissipated back the other way. And then the next one comes, like some controversy in government comes and everybody feeds on that and gets swept up in that. And then that dissipates and comes. Just think of the news cycle ebbing and flowing and bringing people's attention and consciousness with it. So what this is saying about neutralizing it, it's saying these people that have mastered this principle, they're not saying that they're canceling that the pendulums happen, that the energy, the ebbs and flows of life happen in our world, in our society, but they transcend them. I don't take me for instance, I don't subscribe to any of it. I don't watch it, I don't follow it. I'm not involved in it. And when I hear it, I just turn. I'm vibrating at a different frequency than needing to tune into that. Therefore, I'm not swayed with it. It doesn't control my life. It has no bearing on my life, right? So that's a major example. Let's just take a smaller example. Okay, let's just take discussing a controversial event in a classroom at a college or something, right? That's a pendulum. That's power. That's an ebb that's happening, and there's a frequency to it. And if I'm in the back, focused on my breath and not and I might even make a couple comments about the topic, but I'm not caught up in it. It doesn't I have no identity in that. You know, let's take technology, and we're discussing like the good and bad of technology, and we're having this discussion in the classroom about it, and you have some people that are like, yeah, technology is the future. It helps our society. It is elevating our consciousness. It is making us more comfortable and making things more convenient. And there's a big group of people that are on that. And the other people on the other side of that argument are saying, no, it's actually like destroying our civilization. It's tearing apart our social structures, our connectedness, our oneness, it's creating more separation. It's pulling away from what is foundationally makes us human beings, and so those are two different ways of looking at the situation. And when that when that power is moving back and forth, and the pendulum is swinging in and out, and the ebbs and flows of that conversation are happening, people can get really wrapped up in that, right? But when I'm sitting back and I'm just grounded in myself and I'm looking at it from a 10,000-foot view, none of that really matters. I'm not, the discussion is not accomplishing anything. It's You're not going to change whether we move forward in society and humanity with technology or not. Um, I'm transcending that. I'm neutralizing that in my body and in my mind and in my emotions. Okay. And that's really comes down to waking up and having high consciousness and awareness about what matters and what doesn't matter, and really seeing through the illusions of words that we can create. We can create words and dialogue within our society and within people that make things really important or make things really good or really bad, and we can focus a lot of power and attention on those things, and we can identify with them, as I'm a technologist, or I'm a minimalist, or I'm a a new age thinking person, or I'm a Bible believing person or something like that. And we get caught up in these concepts, and it creates division. It creates division and it creates separation. Okay, so then you got people over here on one side of the pendulum, and you got people over here on the other side of the pendulum, and it's swinging back and forth, and it's controlling the way we act, the way we think, the way we interact with the people. It creates judgment. It creates animosity. It creates strife and tension, right? But if we step back and look at it from a like that global view, we're all humans, and we're all here, together as one tribe, one one humanity, living life. And we it makes me accept people for who they are. It makes people the same as me. I see their hearts, I see their struggles, I see their wounding. All right, let's continue on. So depending on their degree of mastery of the principle, they have learned how to use it instead of being used by it. In this and similar methods consist the art of the Hermetists. The master of Hermetics, the master of Hermetics polarizes himself at the point at which he desires to rest, and then neutralizes the rhythmic swing of the pendulum, which would tend to carry him to the other pole. All individuals who have attained any degree of self-mastery do this to a certain degree, more or less unconsciously, but the master does it consciously and by the use of his will, and attains a degree of poise and mental firmness almost impossible of belief on the part of the masses who are swung backward and forward like a pendulum. The principle and that of polarity have been closely studied by the Hermetists, and the methods of counteracting, neutralizing, and using them form an important part of the Hermetic mental alchemy. So it's keeping myself grounded. It's keeping yourself grounded into who you are, and it's keeping yourself grounded into your principles of love and honesty and compassion and empathy and gratefulness and acceptance, and seeing the divine in each person on earth as a soul and not the actor that they're playing, right? That's part of it. The other part of it is an inward journey. You know, before I went on this journey of spiritual journey, I was lost. I had no clue. I was I was I was a victim to the pendulum, and whatever I was consuming, whether it was streaming, whether it was news, whether it was an app or a feed or something happening at work or something somebody said, I was being played by like a puppet with those pendulums. They said this. Oh my God, can you believe they said that? I can't believe they said that. Boop, boop, boop. They said this. I'm going to go do this. Now I'm off running and I don't even know the truth of it, but it's something that somebody said, right? It's, I'm tuned into the pendulum energy and not it's not I'm not back looking at the whole thing swinging back and forth watching it. I always go back to the Matrix, man. That movie. Okay, this is Neo in the Matrix when the bullets are coming at him, and instead of like reacting to them, even instead of even moving around them, that was the first time he woke up. He started moving around them and dodging them, but when he realized that he doesn't have to do anything, the bullet stopped right in front of him and he picked one up out of the air and he just looked at it. That's kind of how I am now with like major news, and like drama on the internet or the latest pop culture thing. Like, oh my God, can you believe that happened? I'm like, that has nothing to do with me. That has none of my business, you know? Anyways, maybe I'm being arrogant about that. I don't really know. What I'm really trying to say is that we don't have to be tossed around by the outside world. I've said it before in other videos. I want to be like a deep lake, okay? A deep lake. When you're at the bottom of the deep lake, the storms above, they swirl, the waves crash, and down at the bottom of that lake is complete stillness, right? Because in my when I used to be tossed around by the waves, I'm living on the surface. This is coming, that's coming. Oh, this, oh, that. I have emotional. Um, my emotions were polar. My emotions were negative, then they're positive, then they're negative, then they're positive, and the positive I want to hold on to, and the negative I want to push away. Instead, if I step back and I just let life happen and I let my emotions run through me, you know, I'm just a conduit for this world to be happening, right? Is it perfect? No, people. No, I'm not an enlightened being, with light coming out my eyeballs. No, I'm a human being. Traffic pisses me off sometimes, you know. Economic insecurity sometimes, things happen, and I'm still working on this. But am I light years better off than I used to be? Tons. I have tons of peace in my life, you know. And people, what they want deep down, happiness is peace. It's peace inside. And you can't get peace inside unless you learn what is robbing you of your peace. And this is a core principle: rhythm. There's lots of rhythms happening. There's lots of things happening in the world, you know, atrocities happening in the world. But those are things that I don't have any control over. Those are things that I'm not going to war with. Those are things I'm not sacrificing my peace for. I have a mission on the planet, and it's right here with you, okay? And it's right here in me, and really, number one is me. I am my mission to be whole and complete and let go of all my limitations and just be the best human that I can be. That's the best gift that you can give to the entire world, is be a good human being. And if you find yourself, on repeat doing things that you don't like, acting in ways you don't like to act, thinking things you don't like to think, feeling ways you don't want to feel, then there's work to do inside. That's where your work starts. It's not fixing them, it's not fixing that, it's not volunteering here, volunteering there. It's the work inside. So this is to raise awareness of the pendulums happening all around us, especially on the internet, especially on social media, in the political arena, in the financial arena, in the job arena, you know, these pendulums can happen in your family and really everywhere, you know. There's things that can steal your attention and sway how you feel and what you do on a daily basis everywhere. Music, videos, streaming, all the things. So I hope you can realize this and just notice. Just notice how you feel and what you're tuned into on a daily basis. What gets you riled up? Is it something that you're choosing to consume? What's making you sad? Is it something that you're choosing to participate in? What's getting you down? What's giving you anxiety? What's taking your attention from working on yourself? And how much attention are you giving to yourself? Because I'll tell you one thing, for years my soul was crying out to me. My soul was crying out to me, telling me to change, telling me to do something different, you know, and I wasn't really cognizant of what it was saying or what to even do. But I'm here to tell you that your soul is always talking to you. Your soul is always reaching out to you. And it uses emotions, it uses thoughts, and it uses your environment and your senses and the feelings and sensations in your body to bring you back into alignment. Because when you're in alignment with all that is, the energy, the oneness, the spirit, God, Jesus, whatever you want to call source, the all from the Kybalion, the all, whenever you're in a line with nature and you're running with the current instead of up against the current, the feeling is bliss. It's harmony. It's delicious. All right. I'm going to wrap it up. That's the principle of rhythm. The next one is the principle of cause and effect. I'll get to that one in a couple days. And I love you. And I wish you well on your expansion of consciousness. See you in the next video.